When talking about iconic North American mammals, opossums are usually not a part of the conversation. These animals are often incredibly overlooked, and they certainly don't get a lot of appreciation due to the myths and misunderstandings that surround them. But today, we want to try and fix that. My name is Evan, and this is Harrison. We're twin brothers who have made it our mission to share the incredible life stories of the wildlife we love to help you become an insider in the natural world. Now, we love opossums and have always wanted to highlight them in a video, but doing so is easier said than done. We don't encounter them very frequently, and even when they do appear, it's usually only for a brief moment late at night. But if there's one thing we've learned in many years of searching for wildlife, it's that there are some encounters that you just can't plan on. While showing our good friend Emilio around a creek system that we've been exploring our whole lives, we saw an unusual furry shape dart across the creek in front of us and scurry into the brush. With only seconds to react, we sprinted over to investigate, and with Emilio's help, I was finally able to secure the interaction we'd been hoping for.
What is that?
That's an opossum.
Oh, wow.
Oh, here we go.
Is she okay?
Coming to you, Emilio, coming to you.
Okay, I'll hold her here. You can get her.
Yep. Where?
There it is.
Got her.
Nice.
Got her?
Yep,
She's a little tangled, but you can get her.
Is she injured?
I don't know.
We'll have to check her.
Yep, I'm gonna try and get her out of these brambles here so we can take an up-close look.
Hi, little one.
You're okay.
There we go.
You're okay.
Pull her that
Here
way.
she is. There you are. Now, this is not hurting her in any way. Let's bring her out. Okay, this is perfect. Come out into the creek. Wow! I have never seen an opossum out during the day like this. This is the North American opossum, also known as the Virginia opossum. And this is bizarre. I have never seen one running around in the creek during the day like this. So I think
So, how long have you guys been exploring this area?
17 years, and I've never once had an interaction like this. So I think let's check her out.
Yeah. Well,
We're gonna
well,
take a look, make sure
first-
she's not sick or
First,
injured.
we gotta make sure if she's a she.
Right, okay, so opossums are marsupials, like things like kangaroos and wombats, and the way you can tell their sex is by looking at their pouch. Females rear their young in little pouches on their abdomen, so let's take a look right down here.
Yeah, I see a pouch.
Yep, you see the pouch right in between her legs?
Oh,
there?
yep, that's a pouch.
That is how we know that this is a female. How cool is that? You're okay, sweetheart. Now you'll notice that all I'm doing is just kind of gently grabbing her by the tail here, and this does not hurt her in any way. The reason for that is because opossums have prehensile tails. They can support their entire body weight just on their tail, and they often do so when they're climbing around in the treetops and such. So this, like I said, is not doing any damage to her whatsoever. She might be a little confused, but we're certainly not hurting her. And this is a technique you use all the time, right, Emilio?
Yep. So, back in Ecuador, we actually have another species that's very similar, which is the common opossum. And these guys love to eat eggs. So they'll often get in our chicken coops through any entrance they can find, or they'll make their own. And once they're in there, they can often get trapped. So the way we safely remove them is by grabbing them by the tail. Now, this is not only safe for the animal, it's also safe for us.
Sure.
Because we don't want to get anywhere near this head, because if our hands is close to that mouth and we take a bite, it is not gonna look pretty.
Okay, the tail definitely looks good. Now, Harrison and I have worked with opossums in captivity before, so Harry, do you want to come in and check out her eyes and her face?
Sure, absolutely.
Make sure that she's not injured in any way, and then as soon as we're done with that, we'll get her right back into the environment. Okay, so why don't you come in? Emilio, you want to hold it?
Yep.
All right. Wow. Hey, little one.
There it is.
Okay. She's pretty tired. In fact, there we go. We actually can let her go. So now that I'm in front of it, it's really interesting because you can see we're not even touching it at this point, and it's staying here, which is rather unusual behavior, wouldn't you say, Emilio?
Rather unusual behavior for a medium-sized mammal, but for possums, this is kind of the norm. Sometimes they'll have their famous trick of playing dead, but in my experience, that almost never happens. They'll usually, after a while, when they realize they're not in immediate danger, they're just gonna sit here and analyze their surroundings.
And what's interesting is, this is a primarily nocturnal animal, which means that they're mostly active at night. So that's why it's particularly unusual to see one out during the day. But you can see it's looking around, taking a look at the head here. Both ears are moving, both eyes are unclouded. The nose is pink, there are no cuts on it. How are your teeth, little one? Did I see your teeth? Yep. No teeth are visibly broken off. Even though, what's actually interesting, you're all right. This animal actually has the most teeth of any mammal here in North America. They have 50 teeth in that mouth, and from what I can see, they're all doing pretty well. Now, it's still looking a little scared. You can see it's shaking. Those whiskers are quivering a little bit. Those whiskers it can use to sense the environment around it. They're tactile organs. They can touch with them and feel what they can't see clearly at night or when they're moving through the trees. But because it's sitting here, I would say this guy is probably in pretty good condition. They're acting the way, Emilio, you said you would expect them to.
Yep.
But how cool is this? Did you expect this in Pennsylvania or no?
Not at all, and I found it especially strange when you guys told me the fact that you guys hadn't seen one either, and I've only been here for a few days.
In 17 years of exploring this creek system specifically, we have never seen an opossum at all, much less seen one during the day, much less one willing to sit with us. So this is really cool and a very unique opportunity to share with you a mammal that is so often vilified here in Pennsylvania and across North America. There are so many misconceptions and so many myths about this species. And actually, while we have the opportunity, why don't we break down a few of them? One of the myths about the North American opossum is that they are voracious tick eaters, and that is actually not true. There's one study that asserted that opossums consume more ticks than any other North American mammal, but that has never been confirmed with wild individuals, and in fact, many scientists have broken down that study, saying that it was ineffective in the first place. So as much as we'd like to believe that this animal is cleaning up the woods of all the ticks, and they probably do eat some ticks incidentally during the year, they are unfortunately not nature's cleanup crew in that sense as they're often thought of. However, that does not mean by any stretch of the imagination that they are a dirty animal.
Speaking of dirty, another myth that is often attributed to these guys is that they will carry rabies. In this scenario in particular, it is especially important to point out that this is not true, because often nocturnal animals that do contract rabies will unexpectedly show up during the day. But we know for a fact that in this particular scenario, it is not true, because opossums do not carry rabies.
That is true.
Their body temperature is far too low to host the virus.
Now, opossums can carry a few other diseases, and the teeth can do a little bit of damage if they bite you. So it's important that if you see an opossum in the wild like this, you do not try to facilitate any sort of interaction. If there's one in your house and you want it removed, there are plenty of people who are able to do that for you, but do not try to do this on your own. The only reason that we are doing this is because Emilio has many years of experience using this tailing technique, and Evan and I have worked with opossums for many years in captivity, so all three of us are familiar with their body language, what signs we need to check for to see if they're healthy, and now that we know that this is a beautiful, healthy female and there is nothing wrong with her, it is time to get her back into the wild, into the woods. All right, she is rearing to go, so I think what I'm actually gonna do is I'm just gonna bring her to these ferns. You're all right, little one. Oh yeah, I hear you, I hear you. You are done, little one. Your wellness checkup is complete. Bye. Come on, you have to go. Yeah, that's just defensive posturing there. She's gonna move off in a second. There she goes. Bye. Look at that climbing ability, that's incredible. Mammals can be incredibly challenging to film up close, and even more so when the species is skittish, fast-moving, and mostly active at night. So we are very happy that we were able to pull this video off against all odds and highlight such an iconic American animal. Opossums have a fascinating life story that I think deserves to be talked about more. They're among the most unique mammals in the country, the only member of the marsupial lineage that exists in the US, yet they're also one of the most adaptable and resilient animals to human development and carry out incredible lives right alongside us. Though this was probably the most unexpected wildlife encounter we've ever had in Pennsylvania, it presented us with the perfect chance to dispel some of the misconceptions that lead opossums to be so underappreciated and even disliked by many people. And I hope that learning more about their true nature has given you a newfound respect for these irreplaceable marsupials. This planet is full of unusual and misunderstood animals like opossums, but if we're willing to take the chance to examine them a little more closely and find out what their real stories actually are, we can all form a deeper connection with the natural world and find the inspiration we need to protect it. If you want to learn about another of the United States' most bizarre and unique residents, check out this video where we find an entire colony of probably the weirdest seabird in New Jersey, the black skimmer. And with that, we hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one.